Okay, so we're on part B now of this question over here. And again, just to remind you, they give me this function d, which is the depth of the water at time t, where the t is written as x, and x is the hours after midnight. They go on to say that I should use a substitution over here. And it seems like, when I first saw it, I said, oh, it looked pretty strange. That's tan of x over 6, and these are sines and cosines of x over 3. So I'm thinking it has something to do with half-angle identities. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go to the whiteboard, and I want to walk you through the stages over here. And I'll write down, what I've been given and what they want me to show. All right. So what I've been given is I've been given d, and d is equal to 2 sine x over 3 plus 3 cosine x over 3 plus 6. Now, by the way, I know the x is between these numbers over here. It's not terribly important to know that at this point. But they said this can be rewritten as d equals 3t squared. I see no t in the problem yet. Plus 4t, plus 9, and then 1 plus t squared. But they give me a hint. I want to make sure you read the hint. The hint's going to be this. You're going to make a substitution. And your substitution is going to be t equals, this is a substitution, by the way, the tangent of x over 6. Now, again, when I initially saw this, by the way, I said to myself, oh, this is probably something to do with half-angle identities at this point, all right? So then I conjure up my mind, can I recall the half-angle identities? And if I can, I got to derive them, and I'll go through that in the notes as well, by the way. But if you're on the exam, by the way, you don't have a lot of time to derive things. So I'm going to write down a half-angle identity for this one over here, and put theta over 2. And there's actually two different statements you could write down. One of them is 1 minus cosine theta. And again, in the notes, I'll derive this for you, using simple information, by the way. Or I could write it down as sine theta over 1 plus cosine theta. All right. Now, again, why to write that? That's typically what you present it to students, by the way. But now I gotta write down the tangent of x over 6. And I'm looking at these two identities, by the way, and I'm going to write one of them down. One of them is going to be 1 minus the cosine x over 3. Again, I'm looking at this theta and theta over 2, and I'm saying that's the relationship over there, by the way, because half of x over 3 is x over 6. And then I'd have the sine of x over 3. And this is t. 1 minus cosine x over 3. And this is going to be sine x over 3. I could write that down. I could also write this one down. Tangent of x over 6 equals the sine of x over 3, and then 1 plus the cosine of x over 3. Now, I want to be honest with you. What happens to a lot of people on exams is they get stuck here. And that's fine, by the way. At least you wrote something down. What a grader could look at that and give you some credit for that. I'm not sure what their rubric is for this, but they probably give credit for doing some work. Maybe not getting to the end of it, but you got some work down over here. And I'm sorry, I have to write this over here. I'm talking, I can't remember what I'm saying. But anyway, it's good if you can write some things down, but you might get stuck now. I'm not saying you're not going to get stuck. All right, but I got two statements over here. And what I'm trying to do is, I'm going to try to manipulate these guys, and really what I'm trying to do is get rid of the, in the problem, I'm trying to get rid of cosines and sines and get them in terms of t's. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put t down, and multiply, I'm taking this first equation over here. That's going to be times sine of x over 3, and that equals 1 minus cosine x over 3. That's not so bad. Let me do the other guy too at the same time. You're going to get t plus t cosine x over 3 equals sine of x over 3. Now, granted, there's, kind of busy with it. I got to look at this and wonder how I'm going to deal with this now. And kind of looking at it, I'm going to write this a little differently. I write it as t 1 plus cosine x over 3 equals sine x over 3. Oops, I need to press it over there. Let's take a look. See if we see something over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on this equation over here, the first one, I'm going to add, let's see, I'm looking at that, 1 plus cosine. And I'm going to write this as cosine x over 3 equals 1 minus t times the sine of x over 3. All right, I'm looking at that. And I'm looking to get the 1 plus cosine x over 3. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And you get 1 plus the cosine x over 3. I'm adding 1 to both sides, is 2 minus t sine x over 3. That looks kind of complicated, doesn't it? But I kind of can make this thing in terms of sines now. And I'll write that down for you. And what's it going to be? That's going to be sine of x over 3. I'm looking at the second equation, by the way. This is the second one. And sine of x f3, and it's going to be divided by t. I'm getting that from here over here. So 1 plus cosine x over 3 is equal to sine x over 3 divided by t. All right? That equals 2 minus t sine x over 3. Now, again, I think I can solve this for a sine now. All right, sine of x over 3. What I'm going to do is multiply both sides by t, and you get sine x over 3. I'm multiplying by t, by the way. 2t minus t squared sine x over 3. And what I'm going to do now is add t squared sine x over 3 to both sides. And you get sine x over 3 plus t squared sine x over 3 equals 2t. And then I'd factor out sine x over 3, and I get 1 plus t squared equals 2t. I got a lot of work, but I know what the sine is in terms of t's now, and the sine of x over 3. It's going to be 2t over 1 plus t squared. All right? So I could plug that back in, and someone says, well, where do you plug it back in? Well, I'm trying to get rid of this thing over here. I could plug that in. But now I got this cosine thing, and I'm wondering what to do with that. And looking at this one over here, I'm hoping I can figure that one out too, by the way. And I want to, kind of narrow it down at this point. I know what the sine of x over 3 is, so I can write this down. 1 plus cosine, that's x over 3, is equal to, this is t, and the sine of x over 3 is just going to be 2t divided by 1 plus t squared. Well, I'm going to simplify that. It's going to be cosine x over 3. And this is going to be 2 over 1 plus t squared. So I can solve for the cosine of x over 3. And that's going to be 2, 1 plus t squared minus 1. And that's going to be cosine x over 3. Common denominator is going to be 1 plus, this is t squared, 1 plus t squared. You can get 2 minus 1 minus t squared. So cosine x over 3 equals 1 minus t squared over 1 plus t squared. All right? So we're at the stage now where I can make a substitution. And I want to go through that with you. I'm going to write d down again. D is a function of x, and that function is, and again, the students have the paper in front of them. They're looking at the function, by the way. It's 2 sine x over 3 plus 3 cosine x over 3 plus 6. And what they want to do is make a substitution now. So I'm going to put that down. It's going to be 2, and the sine of x over 3 is 2t over 1 plus t squared plus 3. And cosine of x over 3 is 1 minus t squared over 1 plus t squared, and then plus 6. Now, by the way, I know what I'm supposed to show, but I'm going to just kind of work with this. And the thing I'm supposed to show over here is that there's a common denominator to these things over here, which is 1 plus t squared. And then you get, let's see, you get 4t plus 3 minus 3t squared plus 6 times 1 plus t squared, which would be 6 plus 6t squared. By the way, this is a function of t now. I need to simplify that, and then check the what they said it should be and make sure I'm getting this. Certainly getting the bottom. Now looking at the top, I notice it's going to be 3t squared. That's this thing and that thing together, plus 4t. I got that, and then 3 plus 6 is 9. What I want to do is I want to look at what they said it should be and see if I've done that. And what does it say it should be? 3t squared plus 4t plus 9 on top, 1 plus t squared on bottom. So we are done with that section of the notes, by the way. It's a QED. Thank you.